The beaver is a large semi-aquatic rodent in which Oregon's early economy was founded on. Mostly due to overharvesting, the beaver nearly disappeared from North America in the early 1900s. However, they are now found throughout boreal regions of North America, including many of Oregon's waterways. Unfortunately, this isn't always a good thing. Some landowners have had negative experiences with beavers, including damage to property, blocked irrigation structures, blocked road culverts, and girdled trees, which is the removal of tree bark. Researchers argue that beaver dams are not impermeable to water and do not completely obstruct water flow, and that beavers will occupy the same dam site multiple times in a row. Researchers also argue that beavers may improve biodiversity in agricultural areas by improving wetland quality. Although evidence suggests that beavers play a role in biodiversity on agricultural lands, that does not eliminate the problem of land damage and girdled trees, while also bringing forth the potential issue of landowners not wanting to support wetland habitat on their land. Agricultural and private landowners that have negative experiences with beavers may also wish to have them removed from their property via lethal and non-lethal methods. However, are these methods ethical and efficient?
So what actions are you taking right now?
So right now we're in a course of every day we come up here and check the water flow, and we just remove the dam if it's built. But at some point I have to decide between my cattle and the pastures and the beavers, so the beavers kind of got to go. So as a landowner and animal scientist looking at this situation, yeah, there's conflicting views for sure. I have to put my cattle that are on my property in a position where they can thrive and be good. I like the beavers, so I'd like them to hang around, but when they cause damage to the property, I gotta look at what's best for me. Beavers are a little harder to control, so yeah, for sure different problems. And then when you consider the cougar aspect of things, if the cougars are hunting the beavers, if I remove the beavers, does that mean the cougars are going to come after my cows? And if that's the case, then I want the beavers to stay, because I'd rather them eat beavers than my nice cows in my pasture. So, there's a lot of weights and balances of how this whole thing should hopefully work, and a lot of different alternatives. I've talked about trapping them. I've called the trapper and asked them how that works. But I find that looking at different ways of trapping them, it's kind of less humane way, because they tend to use snares, which makes them just strangle to death, and rather than just be shot, if that's the case, if we're going to kill them, to do it in a more humane way. So in an ideal situation, yeah, I'd like to just tell the beavers to be okay with this level of the pond and just to hang out, but I'm not sure that they're going to do that, so that's sort of where I'm at.
In this situation, the stakeholders are the United States Fisheries and Wildlife Service, because they run the federal regulations on animals in the U.S., including beavers. Another one is the agricultural and private landowners, because they are the ones that are directly affected by the beavers. Then there's the Oregon Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. This is because we are mainly focusing on Oregon. We're using the Oregon Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. The reason behind this is because they make the regulations for the entire state. Then there's beavers, because they're the ones doing the action, and they are also affected by the decisions we make. And in Josh's case, we're going to include the cattle, because they are indirectly affected by the beavers due to the dams flooding their feed. In many states, killing and trapping beavers is legal during certain times of the year, including in Oregon. Private landowners may lethally remove beavers from their land without a license, which requires a fee. However, they must have a free permit to kill or remove beavers from their land. Landowners can also contact ODFW to remove the beaver via lethal or non-lethal means. Interestingly, the Oregon Department of Fisheries and Wildlife states that removal of beavers is inefficient, as other beavers will move in and take place of the removed beaver. While removing the dam on private land is not illegal, it is not recommended by ODFW, as dams are rebuilt quickly, sometimes overnight. Although no permit is needed, landowners still must obtain permission from the state or local fishery and wildlife agencies for dam removal. While preventative measures are possible, putting measures in place to prevent flooding can be time-consuming, costly, and does require permits and often experience with wetland or stream ecosystems.
For Mr. Hunsacker's situation, he is left with a few options. He could outright eliminate the beavers with trap or shotgun, or he could potentially work with ODFW to reform his land to allow the beavers to stay. However, this may not be a viable choice due to the arrangement of his land. As you can see from this situation, the ethical issue of beaver removal lies solely with the decision of the landowner. Personal ethics are what will decide his options in how he handles the beavers. He must choose what is best for his land and his animals in the end. The radical effects beavers have upon the land rarely leave landowners with the option of leaving them to their own devices.